Oh, what? I had it like set perfect a minute ago and now it's like not working at all. Okay. Let's hope that we can get that to work. Ooh. Okay. You guys, sorry, I know that that's like the worst lighting in the entire world. Let's see here. Oh, don't you look at that? That is like, I hate that light. It's so bad. But whatever, you guys. It's really early in the morning. Almost 5 a.m. Whoop. Almost 5 o'clock in the morning. Don't think too many of you are going to be on just yet, which is fine. I am doing like anything right now to keep myself going. I need more coffee. Sarah's asleep, so I don't want to wake her up. She's got like a really bad infection in her ear because of the one wisdom tooth that they didn't pull, which they should have pulled when she had her other wisdom teeth pulled. They could have just taken it out at the same time, but they didn't. And now it's all infected, and it now infected her whole ear, and it's just a mess. It's a mess. So that's been something we've been dealing with, her wisdom tooth for a few days. Now, it's just a matter of getting insurance to cover that tooth now when they should have just covered it the first time when she had the other ones removed. Anyway, so it's very early. I received yesterday a litter of kittens. We took a good look at them because the guy said, oh, I think they're a week old. And then we got them. They're definitely not a week old. They still have their umbilical stumps. So their umbilical cords are still attached. And right next to the belly, they're still really fresh. The rest of it is pretty dry. Oh, I know, right, Yosef? Oh my God. I'm so proud of him. But let me get to this real quick. So, we got the kittens here. Looked over them. One, they are full term, which is huge. These guys are bigger than Rigby was at a week old. So we officially know now after some follow up with the vet, Rigby is roughly between 9 and 12 days premature. So that puts him close to 2 weeks early, which is a miracle that he's still here. Like kittens that usually are born that early just don't make it. Their little systems just aren't capable of handling processing food and going to the bathroom and all that. It's just too early. So he has literally beaten all the odds. So if he would have been born on time, most kittens on time eat at about 4 weeks old, right? They start to kind of nibble at mom's bowl of soft food and stuff. But Rigby hi Floyd hasn't had any interest, right? Since we've been trying and we're trying. Oh, I know. I would be lying if I tell you I didn't cry. I cried when he finally ate the food. I had been trying for the past 2 weeks to no avail. I mean, he would lock his jaw and he'd turn his head up, and if you put a bowl in front of him, he would turn away from the bowl like he was like, no. I'd put a little bit in his mouth and he would full on gag. Like, I'm talking like full on gag. I'm doing good. And I was like, you have to be kidding me. Like, he should be eating this stuff by now. And I got the kittens yesterday. So is he past? Yes, he is. Yeah, he is definitely past what they call fading kitten syndrome. Yeah, he is at this point. He has made it past that step. And the vet had pushed it out by a week, so at about 5, they wanted to give him 5 weeks old, and so that was last week. So today, Thursday, he's officially 6 weeks old today, which puts him at gestational wise. If he'd have been born on time, gestationally, he's 4 weeks old. So that would put him right about just over 4 weeks if he was born on time. So we're estimating that he's roughly 2 weeks off. He is using a litter box like a champion. That shocked me because he started using it pretty much by himself. Like, he started pottying by himself before I even got the litter box. Yeah, I know. We've already had discussions about that. I'm not making any announcements on anything until we are through the whole, he's got to get neutered. We have to go through the whole process of like all his vaccines. He has to get through his vaccines before anything else. And if he gets ill during his vaccines and he doesn't survive that, that's going to be heartbreaking. He goes to the vet this coming week. He needs to be 1.5 pounds to get his first vaccine. Technically, he was supposed to go in today, but he's not near that yet. He just broke 1 pound in weight yesterday. So he is officially at exactly 1 pound, which is, and he's 6 weeks, so he should be at 1.5 pounds already, and he's not. He's still got about 0.5 pound more. He needs 8 ounces more to even meet the mark to get his vaccine. So because he's so far behind, it's still a rough road. Like, he still has a long way to go. We're not making any solid decisions right now until we know for absolute certain that, one, he's going to survive, and two, what are we looking at medically for him, and what's that going to be for him if we take the full adoption on, because then that all falls on my shoulders. Right now, everything for him is covered by the rescue and by the organization. So we have to weigh everything. It's just it's a lot to think about and a lot to consider. But we have the new litter. We're calling them Little Warriors. And from what it appears, the person that found them, Mama had been gone quite a while. They look like they're roughly 3 days old. We're going to give them about 3 days old. One, because their umbilical stumps are fully dried up to the belly button. So right at the belly button, still a little bit on the wet side. Two, they're really good at latching onto the bottle. I don't even have to use a syringe because, they're full term, so they're good size, which also means that they've nursed before. So it looks like they've been nursing on Mama. She was taking care of them. We have a feeling she was going to move them, and then something happened. So I'm guessing she either was with one kitten and had left. We don't know how many kittens she may have moved, or if that's the case, or if she got spooked and ran off. We don't know. All we know is that the person that found them said that he just kept hearing these loud screaming noises, and it was going on for quite a while. He said he finally pulled the siding off the side of his house, the lower side of the house, and crawled underneath. And he said it was just from all over. Like, you could hear the screaming noises coming from all over underneath his house. So he climbed up underneath there and found the kittens in several different locations within the underside of the house, which means that they all wandered. Mama didn't place them in different spots. They happened to wander away from each other trying to find Mom, which kittens won't wander too early on. Like, they'll wander once they hit that point of, we need food. And the guy had his camera set up, had seen Mama leave on camera, and then she didn't come back. And it had been roughly 6-7 hours. She still wasn't back yet. So they took the kittens inside that night and fed them night before last, and watched the cameras all night. Mama never came back, like, not once. She never crossed the camera because their camera's motion activated. She never came back. And they only have the one access point under the house. She never came back under. She never came back looking. And so he reached out to Saint and said, hey guys, what are we supposed to do? I have to go to work. I have no way to care for these babies. And he did really good overnight, kept them fed. They all did really good. So they brought them to me. I got them at about 5 p.m. yesterday. I've been up all night. I stayed up all night and got them started on a schedule, because I think he wasn't sure how long you were supposed to feed them for or how much you were supposed to feed them. So he was doing little syringe feedings, and they were eating every 30 to 45 minutes because they just their bellies weren't being filled. So I started them the first night, like the first couple of feedings, I did it with the syringe so I can see just how much each of them was willing to take. And they only took just a little bit at first and wanted to eat again in like 30 minutes. So I went ahead and pushed it to getting each of them, like I would get them and they would stop eating. I would, stimulate them, get them to go potty, and give them some more. Finally got each of them to take a teaspoon and once they took a teaspoon, they slept 2 hours straight. So that's what they've been doing, is they've been taking, all of them are eating a teaspoon every 2 hours. Yeah, and we don't know, like we said, we don't know. Mama may have been trying to move them from the location, and gotten hit by a car, got picked out by a coyote. There's all kinds of things that could have happened for Mama to leave them. And the other thing that let us know that they were definitely less than a week old, and also less than 3 days old, because of the fact that they still have their umbilical stumps, which don't fall off till between 4 and 5 days. Sometimes as early as 3 to 4, but they'll keep their umbilical cords will be gone by 5 days, and they still have theirs. So it means they're less than 5 days old. Also, Mama hadn't finished cleaning them yet. So I spent a good amount of time, because it was all caked on them and dried on them, a lot of their afterbirth. I'm sorry if that's TMI, but Mama would never leave kittens like that, because it leaves them susceptible to predators, because that can be smelled. So mamas usually, especially feral cats, will clean their babies really, really well to get rid of any evidence. And what they'll do is they'll get the babies all clean, and they'll relocate them to take them away from the birthing area, because a lot of times they keep that birthing area really, really clean as possible. And once the birthing process is done, she'll move her kittens. And I think that's what she may have been doing, was that she started getting everybody cleaned up, she finished the birthing process, and started to move her litter, and something happened. So right now, this time of year is a really bad time for mamas to give birth, because there's a lot of coyotes down by the river. A lot. I mean, they come right up into people's yards out here. And especially if you live down by the water, they will be in your yard. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. The coyotes are coming in the yards. They're coming to find food. They're coming to find cats and other small dogs. Any small animals that they can pick off, that's what they're there for. So that may have been what happened. We don't know. But it was it had gone well over 12 hours, and Mama still hadn't made an appearance. And so he wanted to watch and see if she would come back. And he said if she had come back, then they would have just taken the kittens right outside and sat them out there for her to, right inside the little opening, to give them back to her. But she never came back. So they did their due diligence. They watched, and they were very eyes on, trying to see if Mama would come back. She just didn't. But yeah, so there's 3 boys, 2 girls. The one little girl, who we call Rainy, if you guys look at Instagram, you'll see a picture of them. She is the tiniest of the group, with Arlo being very close behind her size-wise. Sorry, Tonks is dreaming over here. And then we have the biggest one in the group. He's solid black, though I think, in all honesty, most black cats aren't just black, like solid black. If you get the lighting on them right, you'll see that they're either spotted or striped. He definitely has stripes, but they're so dark. Like, he's so solid from nose tip to tail, not another color stitch on him. So Sarah has named him Ezekiel, and she's in love with him. He's huge compared to the rest of the litter. He's almost double their size. Like, he's massive. And then you've got, right close behind him is Riker. Riker is right there. He's got the big male head, big rounded head, real strong shoulders in the front. And then you've got Arlo, who is just Mr. Tiny, skinny, wispy little thing. Like, he's got the scrawniest little face, and he's super small. And then you got Rainy, who is exactly matched, so like color for color and stripe for stripe is matched to Riker. Her and Riker, you'd almost think that they were identical, other than one's a boy, one's a girl. And then you've got sweet little baby Misty. Misty is very light, like everybody else is dark in the litter. You got the solid black, you got Arlo, who is really dark, like tabby striped. Like, he is like what they call tiger striped. He is super, super dark. Like, he has a dark black line down his back, and his stripes are really dark. Then the 2, Riker and Rainy, are very, very, I guess you'd say they've got the same color stripes as Arlo, except that their back has a lighter, like a skinnier strip down it. So they don't have the big, huge, bold black line that's just a skinny line. And then you've got Misty, and she is the same, like, light gray as Rigby. So Misty is very, very, very light, creamy gray color with the bold pattern. So she's got, like, the really bold bricked stripe pattern, almost squared markings versus stripes. So yeah, she's kind of the oddball out of the group. She has not as big a, like, not as tiny or skinny stripes as her brothers and sister. So it's just, they're all super sweet and adorable. She's also got a very unique meow. Everybody else has, like, you know, the high-pitched kitten meow, and then you've got Misty, who has this very froggy voice. It's very raspy, and when she meows, it's very, like, it's almost like somebody took a Brillo pad and scratched her throat, like she's an 80-year-old smoker when she meows. It's the cutest thing. So, the sun's actually going to be coming up here pretty soon, and I'll open up my curtain here in a little bit. But Rigby is doing amazing. All day yesterday, before we finally got him to eat, which was funny because I was trying to get the food in his mouth yesterday, like I've been doing. I sit down with him, I take some of it on my finger, and I try to put it in his mouth. He would normally gag on it. This time around, I put some on my finger and put it in his mouth, and he was like, sat there with it in his mouth, and he didn't gag this time, and I was like, waiting. And then he kind of like licked his tongue at it and kind of spit it out, and I was like, okay, well, I guess this isn't gonna work. And I still had some of it on my finger, and he reached over and bit my finger. And I was like, dude. So I stuck my finger in the bowl with the food, and I started kind of going like this in the bowl, and he came over to see what my fingers were doing. And as soon as he caught scent of what where my fingers were, which was the same stuff he smelled on my finger, he immediately stuck his face in the bowl and just started chomping at it. Because all day yesterday, every time I tried to give him a bottle, because he would scream like he was hungry, I'd give him the bottle, and he just starts chewing on the bottle, which he destroyed all his nipples other than the final one that we got yesterday. We bought him a new nipple yesterday, and he started chewing on that one, going to town on it. And I was like, you got to stop chewing on it. You're going to ruin it, and you won't be able to eat, because he wouldn't eat solid food. But he'd sit there gnawing it, and I would have to take it away from him, and he'd get mad. So I tried to give it to him with the bigger syringe thing, and then he'd get all pissed off and scream at me. And finally, at about 6 p.m. yesterday, he ate solid food. Like, stuck his face in there, went in, full mouth chomping it. And I was just blown away. I was so proud of him. And I actually teared up and cried a bit, because I was so, like, that's such a huge relief. Like, if you've never taken care of little fur babies, and you've never, like, done the work that I do, you won't really understand it. But normally when animals are born, they're with their moms, and their moms do all that work to introduce them to stuff. And so you're not really hands-on in that process. Like, you give mama the food, you put the wet food out to help her with her milk production, stuff like that. But she's the one that introduces the babies pretty much to everything. When you're bottle feeding, however, and they're orphaned, it's a whole different process, because then it's up to you to teach them the things that mama would have taught them. And so they fall a little bit behind the curve from if mama was doing it, because as a human, you can't really stick your face down in a bowl and teach them to eat. You're not going to regurgitate food for them to eat like mama would. And you can't really communicate with them like mama would use low growls and noises to communicate with her kittens. Same thing with dogs. Mamas use low noises that we don't hear to quiet her litter. Cats the same way. Mama cat, before she leaves, like when she puts them in a pile or whatnot so she can go eat, there's something she does, like signal wise, that cats and baby kittens will know to stay quiet when mama's gone. And so they'll stay quiet for a certain length of time before they finally hit their breaking point of, I'm hungry, mom, where are you? So then it becomes, of course, a an instinct to be fed. And so their instinct to be fed outweighs their instinct to stay safe. And so they will call out. So yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But Rigby though, like him finally, she's doing great. She's actually sleeping. She's got a really bad ear infection. She's got, well, it's not just her ear, it's also her wisdom tooth. So we're waiting on paperwork to find out if the insurance is going to cover them yanking that tooth out when they should have done it last year when we had our other ones taken out. Sorry, I know that light is annoying, but we don't really have much of a choice. My hair's like up on top of my head. Shania, hi, how are you? So yeah, just as a foster mommy to fur babies, getting Rigby to this stage right here, it's a huge weight. Like as someone who raises fur babies, kittens especially, because that's like my forte. I'm really good with raising baby kittens. Getting them to that point where they're eating on their own is a huge relief, because then that means their independence is stepping up. So that frees up your time, and you're not also like on top of them all the time. You're not having to take them everywhere. Though Rigby is really attached to me, so 90% of his day, you guys, I'm not even kidding, this stays with me all the time. 90% of his day, he wants to be in here. I learned something very, very, very precious about my baby the other day, and that was that he does not like bad weather. I could not figure out for the life of me why on Tuesday, right? Yeah, Tuesday, he was just so upset. You guys, it broke my heart. I'm gonna cry if I talk about it too. He was so upset all day Tuesday, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. Like, he didn't want to eat. I thought, oh my God, he's taking a turn for the worst. I couldn't get him to take a bottle. I couldn't get him to go into his litter box. He would just scream when I sat him down, and then he would quiet down when I put him inside of his, Allison, hi. Oh, this isn't even a vlog. This is just a live. We don't do vlogging anymore. So this is just a live stream. I do live streams, but I don't do any more vlogging. One, I don't have the time, because I have my hands full. And two, I am in school full time. So between taking care of the babies and doing school full time, I just don't have the time to pick up a camera and just like film in and out of the day. And with COVID going on, there's not anything to film anyway. We literally don't go anywhere. We don't leave the house unless, I think it's like every 2 weeks we go and get groceries, and then that's it. We get 2 weeks worth of groceries, and then we stay home. We don't go nowhere else. All my appointment stuff we do via video conferencing with our doctors. So yeah, we do not leave the house. But so we don't vlog anymore, but we do live streams. And, but yeah, I put him inside of the what we call the critter cuddler. As you guys know, I've shown this 100 times. I've actually got milk all over it from him. But, oh, he's awake playing with his toys. But he was so upset, and so I just carried him around all day. And all of a sudden, it was probably like 6:30, the whole house started to rattle, right? And I was like, what the heck? What is going on? And so I go over to the door, and I open the curtain to look out the sliding glass door, and it is just wind going nuts, right? Like, I mean, it took everything right off the deck and knocked everything down to the first floor. And I was like, oh my God. So rushed out there. We got the dogs out of the yard and brought them inside. I almost got blown right off the roof. I'm going to say the roof, because that's pretty much what it is. It's the roof of the first floor of the house. So go out there, almost get blown right off the deck. I'm trying to get the dogs upstairs. Poor Winnie Bear is sliding everywhere. We get them up here, get everybody settled in, and Rigby is so mad because I sat him down so I could go outside. I wasn't going to take him outside in that weather. So I sat him down, and he was flipping out. I come back inside, we got everybody in, I grab Rigby, put him in here, and he was shaking. like shaking. He did not want me to, like, and I had to hold him. Like, he was inside of there, but if I took my hand off of him, he'd get really upset. And so I just sat and held him next to my chest, and he stayed that way through the entire storm. It started to thunder out. We had crashing lightning. Weird part was, it was nowhere in our weather report, right? Like, nothing in our weather thing said that we were going to get this nasty storm that was going to roll in. It lasted about an hour and a half, so not that long. But I learned that Rigby knew that that storm was coming all day. He could feel the electricity change in the air. And it was a bad electrical storm. Like, there was lightning going crazy, thunder. I even posted a little clip on Instagram of some of the lightning clips I caught just sitting at the window right here. And so he was not happy. So my poor little guy is scared of storms, and he can sense them way in advance. Like, hours and hours in advance. He knew all day long. He started acting out, like really acting up and being really upset at about 6:30 in the morning. So roughly 12 hours before the storm hit, he knew it was coming. And we had clear skies all day. I'd been outside several times, played with Danny on several occasions out there that day. Just had a good time. We were outside. I took Tonks out because his leg is doing better and he's running around on his foot. Nothing. Dogs didn't act like anything was coming, but Rigby did. Rigby let us know. And he just stayed in the carrier all day. Like, I went out there and took the dogs walking, and he went with us because he wanted to be in the carrier right next to me. So he knows where his safety net is, and that's me. So, yeah, he definitely let me know that he wasn't happy. And, he went back into his bed. But, yeah, he's a special little guy. And then, these little guys we got yesterday at 5, and because she had posted saying that they needed a new foster, and we were trying to decide whether or not we were going to bring one of the other fosters from one of the other ladies. She has some fosters. They're about a week older birth-wise from Rigby, but when we look at their size difference, that kitten is a lot bigger than Rigby, and we didn't want to have any issues with Rigby getting beat up and then becoming afraid of other cats. But also, when she posted today that they needed another foster for a litter of kittens that definitely need bottle feeding, like ASAP, I messaged her and I said, you do know that, I can still bottle feed another set now that Rigby's made it out of the danger zone. She said, oh my God, would you really? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So she said, well, we'll be there. Give us a couple minutes. We're picking them up right now. And she immediately brought them to me. So from the time she posted to the time that I responded to her and let her know, hey, we can still take a litter here. Rigby's old enough now, and he's past that danger zone. And even if he still was on the bottle, I'd still be able to take care of them. So yeah, and he's super curious about him. So once I get him all fed, I sit him right next to me while I feed the other babies, and he just sits and watches them. They meow, and he's very curious about why they're crying. He hasn't made any attempts to, like, swat at anybody. He doesn't hiss at anybody. He just watches. And so that's a good sign because he's curious about them, which is perfect timing, so that he's paying attention. Oh, now he's back out of his bed. He's playing with his toys. So he is a little champion, and I love him to death. He is, I think that he's going to do really good with these little guys. It's funny too, because when we brought home Rigby and the litter, their little heads were so small that they could fit through the grate of the kennel door, right? They could their whole bodies could come out of those little squares on the kennel door. These guys are only a couple of days old, and their faces are way too big to fit through the grate. And I was like, that's supposed to be what a kitten looks like. That's supposed to be the size. They should fit in the palm of your hand. But Rigby and his litter were all about the size of my finger. Like, they were tiny. Their little heads were like as big as like this part of my finger. Whereas these guys, their whole body fits in my palm. And with Rigby's litter, I could hold all 5 of them in my hand. Like the whole litter I could hold in one hand. These guys, I'm lucky if I can get a grip of 2 of them and hold them, but that would mean their little butts are hanging off my hand. So yeah, everybody fits in the palm of my hand except for Ezekiel, and that's because he's so big. Poor mama giving birth to him, I'm surprised that he didn't get stuck in her birth canal. Because he's big. Like, he's a big boy. And his brother Riker is right behind him size-wise. So I think they're going to be in competition on who's going to be the biggest of the 2 of them. Right now, Zeke has it by a long shot. So he is definitely much bigger. Probably by a couple, like by an ounce or 2. Which I know that sounds really small, but when it comes to kittens, that's a big size difference. But yeah, they're flipping adorable. And every one of them has a spunky personality other than Misty. Misty's lets you know when she's hungry. But for the most part, she's very kind of just mellow. Out of all the other ones, they're like running around when it's time to eat. And she's just kind of like, sit still, let you know she's hungry. But she's not like getting into everything and like grabbing at stuff and like running off when you first bring her out and like, you know, doing the whole kitten panic thing. Like, where's the food? She's just very chill. She's got a very laid back attitude. Arlo, I think Arlo is he's like the most vigorous eater. Like when he gets a hold of the bottle, he gets a hold of the bottle. The loudest of the group, the one who lets you know that it is feeding time for everyone, is Ezekiel. He screams out loud. Like that kitty has a set of lungs on him. So, but he's beautiful. He is beautiful. Solid black coat. I should say he's all black because he's not solid. Like if you get the lighting on him, you can clearly see that he has like light black, dark black stripes. And he's going to be long haired. So I don't know who else is going to have long hair in the group. I do think that maybe also Misty, but Zeke is going to have long hair. He's very long haired already as a 3-day-old kitten. Officially, we would say today would probably mark day 4. We're kind of giving them that they were probably born on Monday. Like I said, this is just a guesstimation because we don't know exactly when they were born. But due to the condition in which their umbilical stumps are in and the fact that they still had afterbirth on them, so that they hadn't been fully cleaned, but it was sticky, like so it had dried on them that way, tells us that they were no more than 3 days of age. So more than likely, Mama gave birth on Monday, and of course, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so 3 days old by Wednesday. So we're gonna say that they were born on the 17th. Like I said, we could be off by a day or 2, but it's better to aim under than to aim over and then make mistakes. So it's better to say they're a little bit younger than they are by a couple of days. This way you kind of stay, you kind of treat things a little bit better when you do that. It's better to start doing things a little bit on the younger side than on the older. So, because if you aim that they're older, you could be introducing things that are too sudden for their bodies. So right now we're just doing bottles, which is great because every one of them takes to the bottle really well. They all have very good suctioning. That sounds funny to say that, but they do. They're very adapted to the bottle very well. And they all are more than capable of getting milk from the bottle without having to be assisted by like squeezing it or anything. Their suctioning power is really good. Whereas Rigby, it took him until after he was almost 2 weeks old before he finally graduated to an actual bottle from the syringe. Because he was so tiny, the bottle nipple was just too big that he could not get his mouth around the bottle nipple. So all of him and his litter were using a syringe because it was like this minuscule little syringe. that was like super, super skinny and only held like, I think it only held 0.1 ml. So it wasn't even like, you get syringes, most syringes that you get are like 5 mLs, right? Which is a teaspoon. And they were, the syringe we were using was 0.1. So it's literally, when you do it on the syringe scale thing, it's like amount. So it was like a fifth of a teaspoon. So very, very proud of my little man. He's been eating the dry food too. We got him, let me show you what we got him. So Saint brought him this. This is what he's using right now. So this is the one they brought us. This is the Healthy Kitten formula from Puritan One. Purposeful nutrition for lifelong body. And this one, I didn't even look at the ingredients, but chicken is the very first product in this. Not chicken byproduct, but actual chicken, which is what you want to see. You want an actual meat as the first product in their meal. So it's chicken, and then it has some chicken byproduct in it. But yeah, chicken is the very first ingredient in here, so that's really good. This is not like top of the line, you know. Yeah, number one ingredient is real chicken. A vet would say this is really good. It'll work. It's not top of the line by any means. You can get kitten food that's like way up there price-wise, but also way up there like health-wise. There's one that I got that Allie got us back when we had, gosh, what was her name? Libby and stuff. When we had our other cat that we were taking care of that had the kittens as well. And she got us the one cat formula, one kitten. It's like for nursing moms and kittens. And so it was a really good one for mama to eat as well as for the kittens to eat. And I'm so thankful she got that because it really helped out when mama passed and the kittens needed to still be fed. But Rigby's eating this, and it was funny because I think that's what kick-started him wanting to eat the wet food. We got that today when she brought the kittens over. She brought us the bag of kitten chow, of the hard kitten food for Rigby, thinking maybe he just doesn't like the wet food. Maybe the wet food is just, to him, not attractive. So let's try some dry kitten food. So we put the dry kitten food in a bowl, and for the first time since we've been trying to introduce food, he was curious about the bowl of food. He actually went over, instead of turning his nose up at it, he started sniffing at the food. He didn't eat the dry food, but he started sniffing at it, showed a curiosity for it. So now he was like, oh, okay, wait a second. What is that I'm smelling? Then I sat with him and did the wet food. And as soon as he caught on that whatever that was that I just tasted, that I thought that I could smell on your hands, because he associates my hands with his food, because every time he eats, my hands are there with a bottle. So he associates whatever's here as being something good. So when he smelt the canned food on my finger, he started biting at my finger because he was like, wait, what is that? So I stuck my hand to the bowl, and finally it like clicked. It was like almost like an instant click. I could see it in him. He just kind of like, his whole body posture changed, and he dug his face right into the bowl, and I was like, oh my God, he did it. I freaked out, and I'm smiling when I'm thinking about it because it's a huge deal. And then all night last night, when the kittens would wake up to eat, he would wake up, which he normally doesn't. He usually sleeps all night. But last night he woke up, and I could hear him over there eating his dry food. So he's eating the dry food now and whatnot. So when I get ready to feed, he'll eat a bottle if he takes the bottle. Because he's just been chewing at it recently, but he'll have a bottle ready for him at 7 o'clock, because that's usually what he eats when he eats his first bottle in the morning. So at 7 a.m. I'll give him his bottle, see if he wants it, and then he'll get another bottle at 2 in the afternoon, and then he'll get one more bottle before bed, which is 9 o'clock. So that's kind of the goal, is 3 bottles a day. The rest in between will be wet food and a bowl of dry food that he can nitpick at if he wants. Because with kittens, you want food out for them all the time. At least dry food anyway. And then as the week goes by, we'll eliminate the afternoon feeding, the afternoon bottle, to where he only gets a morning bottle when he first wakes up in the morning and then a bottle before bed. And then we will weed out the morning bottle and only give him his bedtime bottle. So that's going to be throughout this next week. So by next, let's see here, because today's Thursday, he's officially 6 weeks old. So by Sunday or Monday, let's see, probably Sunday. Sunday we'll have fully eliminated the middle afternoon feeding. So we'll reduce the amount. Starting today, we'll reduce the amount he gets at his afternoon feeding, but by Sunday have it completely eliminated. And then we want to make sure that by Wednesday we eliminate the morning feeding, and then he'll have his night feeding up till he's 8 weeks of age. So we'll slowly reduce the amount he's going to get through that last week. So from 7 weeks old into 8 weeks old, he'll wean off the night feeding completely. And so by 8 weeks old, he'll be completely weaned, which is great. We want that. And then with the hopes that he starts to really catch up weight-wise now that he's eating solids. Cross our fingers. But I'm so proud of him. As soon as he started finally eating, I jumped up out of the enclosure, came and ran and grabbed my phone and started filming him because he was eating so vigorously. I was like, I have to get him on camera. I have to get him on camera because this is a moment. This is such a moment for this little guy who the vet wrote off, said that just prepare yourself because the whole litter is gonna go. And she pretty much just totally dismissed the fact that any of these kittens would survive. And that was when she sent back the last two, which was Rigby and his brother Stevie. And sadly, Stevie did pass away that same night. But Rigby, boy, he fought against every odd. First of all, being a preemie baby, never having had mama's milk, to lose his entire litter, all his siblings to FKS. And then here he is, 6 weeks old today. This little man is 6 weeks old today. And he wasn't even supposed to still be here. As far as the vet was concerned, he was a lost cause, which is also what the vet told the gentleman about this litter. When he called the vet to ask the vet where he could take them, not the vet, the shelter, where he could, not the vet guys, the shelter. He called the shelter and said, hey, where can we take these babies? Their mama still hasn't been back yet. It's been well over 12 hours. What do you want us to do? And the shelter told him, you might as well just put them back where they were and let them go, because they're going to die anyway without their mom, which is not true. That's why people like myself live out here and do things like I do, which is foster, because there's always a chance if you take the time and put the effort in to giving up sleep and whatnot, you can take care of these little guys. And that's exactly what I've been doing. And hold on, I want to peek on them, make sure they're doing okay, so hold on. Oh yeah, they are all crashed out, which is the best. So, oh, I don't want that right there. Here we go. There we go. Oh yeah, oh God, what happened? There we go. You guys can see my phone's outline right there. I could do this a little bit more. Yeah, but then it cuts off my head, so there we go. We'll just do that. I'm surprised I don't see any of the sun out yet. The sun should be breaking through right about now. Oh yeah, it is. Never mind. But I want coffee. I'm gonna go make myself a cup of coffee. Like literally, this is gonna take just a couple seconds because I'm gonna do some instant coffee because I have found an instant coffee that I actually like. So, be right back. Don't go nowhere, guys. I'll be right back. Oh. here. Okay, I'm back. And yeah, the sun is coming up. Hold on, let me open this up. Well, I'm going to start doing streams from on this side over here. That's the window. Well, a piece of the window, because the rest of the window has the bar and stuff on it to hold the other curtain piece up. But daylight. But yeah, which is great. It's great. But I got coffee, and it's going to be scalding hot because we have a new water dispenser, and it's so nice to just not have to run downstairs all the time to get water out of the refrigerator. As you guys know, we can't have a fridge up here because we don't have the outlet for it. We need a stronger, like we need more powerful outlet. If we put the fridge up here, we would just blow the fuse for the whole floor. And the refrigerator puts off heat, which would defeat the whole point of the air conditioner. So we don't do that. So up here we do have a water dispenser now, so we get ice cold water when we want it, and boiling hot water when we want it. So I can make cups of coffee without having to, jump hoops to do it. That is hot. Oh, that's so good. It's vanilla caramel creamer by Coffee Mate, and it's good. And I have finally, for the first time, because of course thank you, stomach, I am one of those people that is like really picky about saving money, right? So when I go to the grocery store, if I find something like, I'm like, okay, well I want creamer, I'll usually go for the off-brand. Usually I get liquid creamer because I have found that the powdered creamer always ends up getting clumpy or weird in my coffee. Well, I needed creamer, and we went to the dollar store, and they didn't have any liquid creamer, but they did have Coffee Mate powdered creamer. And I was like, I never buy powdered creamer, but let's just see if this one works well. It is the real stuff. Like, this is the name brand coffee creamer. So I said, let's just give it a try. If I don't like it, we at least have something for right now. But I figure it's going to clump the way the rest of the stuff does. Nope. Doesn't clump at all. Like, this stuff dissolves completely in the coffee. I mean, my coffee could get cold and it's still completely dissolved. I don't get clumpy weird bits in my coffee, as you do with the knockoff generic brands of creamer. And I noticed that the consistency of this is like fine, like baby powder, whereas the generic stuff is like granulated, kind of like sugar. So there's a huge difference in consistency and texture. So I am so glad I did this because, one, the powdered creamer is way cheaper, and it tastes just as good, and it doesn't have to be refrigerated, so I don't have to run downstairs for freaking coffee creamer. I can just make my coffee right here. And I found a really delicious instant coffee. I have never liked instant coffee. I've tried Folgers instant coffee, I've tried Maxwell House instant coffee, I've tried a couple of other like knockoff brands. This one is a store brand. It's Great Value store brand. I think it's Great Value, right? I'm trying to remember what it's called. No, it's something Choice. Great Choice. It's the Smith or Safeway brand. Yeah, Select Choice or something like that by Safeway. The dark roast. So the dark roast coffee is my absolute go-to. Of course, I love my black silk by Folgers, the regular like that you have to brew. That is my definite, like, I usually brew a pot of that in the morning, and that'll go throughout the day. I drink that one just straight black. I won't drink the instant coffee straight because it does not have the same taste. I can tell you that right now. Instant coffee does not have the same taste as ground coffee that you have to brew. And you can fight me on that because it does not have anywhere near the same taste. So I will not drink instant coffee straight. Like, I love my black silk coffee, just plain black, just nothing in it. But this stuff, this is doable with a little bit of sugar. Like I do like about a tablespoon of sugar and then some creamer. But I would not do this straight. And my coffee cup that Sarah got me for my birthday, and it says home is where mom is. Oh, and if anybody's wondering about Taylor and stuff, he got news the other day that he has to do the entire process for chaptering completely from the beginning again. Because they waited so long to do like his all his steps 1 and 2 and processing all of it, because they waited so long and put him on the back burner for so long, all his paperwork has expired, because you have like so many days to process it, and if it doesn't process in those days, then it has to be redone, because anything can change in that window. And so because it's been 3 months since they first started the process, because we're in August now, and they started doing all his processing back in like end of May, because May 29th was his appointment for his step 1 process, and because it's well past the 90 days, he has to redo everything, and so he's got to start all the way back over at step 1, which means he's going to be there until after Christmas. He does get to take leave because he's saved up leave for an entire year, because he hasn't taken any, like, all this time. Well, they can't anyway. He could have if COVID wasn't happening, but he could have, if it was a regular year and none of this crap was going on, he could have flown home and taken a couple of days of leave while going through this whole process, to just kind of get a break from everything, come home and visit. But because he hasn't been able to, he should be able to fly home for Christmas, and have 10 days of leave built up for the year, because the last time he was here was back in Christmas. So he should have 10 days of leave built up and come visit and come down and see where he's going to be living, visit with the person he's supposed to be moving in with. Things may change for him. We don't know yet, because of course he had expected that he would be done and out of there by the end of August, beginning of September, like the first week of September was supposed to be the goal. Now that he has to start all over again, he's not going to get out of there until after Christmas. So, yeah, that's a whole nother headache for him. Not for us necessarily. Like, I think it's fine. With everything going on, I told him that he's lucky to be able to still have a job and still be working and still be getting paid right now. So he should be worrying about saving up so that when he does get out, in case he can't find a job right away, he's got something available to him in savings to afford to live on. So that's what he's been doing. And he's, quite happy with that, because one of the things he wants to do when he gets out is to go ahead and get himself a vehicle, which I think is a very smart decision and whatnot. So, by the way, guys, woo! If you're watching this still, and we're 55 minutes in, I need some recommendations for shows. Okay, so here's the thing though. I love things that are sci-fi. I love documentaries. I love science, history, really like history, and crime shows. So that's TV-wise. Movie-wise, I like action. Okay, so action-packed stuff. I'm not into like comedies. Like I'm not into comedies. Or romantic movies. No, please don't recommend any romance movies. So for movies wise, I love action. I like horror. Not gruesome. I don't like gore. I like scary movies, like scary. Okay, so things like Annabelle and Annabelle Creations. Things like Poltergeist, and Poltergeist is such an old movie. It's not even scary anymore. Back in the day, that was like the scary movie. It's not anymore. Was never a fan of, and never scared of, like, Friday the 13th movies, like the Freddy Krueger movies. Those never really got me, neither did the Jason movies, or the Halloween movies, not really. But like scary movies, like things like The House at the End of the Road, The Last House on the Left, those are freaking scary. But we like scary movies. Sarah and I do kind of like the dumb scary, like the ones where you watch it and you just go, oh my god, so stupid. So like stupid scary, where it's almost comical when you watch it. We like those. Catherine, hi honey. I'm doing good. Much better today. I'll get into that in a minute. So guys, send me recommendations for TV series. I've already, like, there's a bunch of them that we already watched, so don't be offended if I say already seen it, because we have seen quite a bit. I have a bad habit of, when I watch a series, I don't just watch an episode and then go to a different thing and watch an episode. I always end up binging, but I don't binge it in the way most people think binge-wise. Like, no, I've already watched Riverdale. Riverdale is amazing, and I've already watched all of it already, and waiting for the new season because it needs to hurry up. We've watched Stranger Things, we've watched Riverdale, I've watched Roswell and Roswell, is it Roswell? There's two different, there's Roswell from when I was a kid, like when I was younger, and then there's the new Roswell series that came out with the chick and the guy, and he like saves her and he puts his like hand on her and she ends up with like his handprint mark. Yeah, that thing. We watched, I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you have not seen it, you need to go watch it on Netflix. It's called The Five. Holy cow. Such a good series. Hannibal. If you haven't seen Hannibal, we can't be friends. Just kidding. I'm not a fan of doctor shows. Like, I used to watch Dr. House, like the TV series House, but I only liked it because he was such a rebel. I liked that show, but not so much anymore. Like if I watch it now, I do like Bones. Bones is good, but that's not a doctor show. That's more like she works for, like she's, what's the word I'm looking for? An anthropologist or whatnot. Anthropologist. I'm so wrong. Don't listen to me on that one. But Bones. I love Bones. Watched all of that. I'm more into things like, hey Chris, I'm really into things that are more geared towards reality. Once Upon a Time, watched the whole thing already. We are waiting for if they're going to have anything else coming out with it. The only one I think I didn't like was when they introduced Elsa. Sorry, but it came off as very corny. I was very, very disappointed in that season. Supernatural, best series on the entire internet, on the entire world. Supernatural. So here's the thing, but here's my thing. I'm really more into things like the first 48, 48 Hours Hard Evidence, things like Forensic Files. Doing okay, Chris. Sarah's got a really bad infection right now in her ear and in her jaw because her wisdom tooth, the one they decided to just leave in when they were pulling the other three, has now become infected, which we knew was going to happen. Her dentist even recommended it to the insurance company to just get all four out. And I've already watched all of Vampire Diaries, the originals, and the spin-off from the originals of Klaus's daughter, which I keep forgetting what the heck that's called. I just finished watching the series Cursed, and oh my god, they better hurry up with the next season. I know, right? So like I said, we've watched pretty much all the popular things that come up on Netflix and on Amazon Prime, and on, like, we used to watch HBO all the time because I'm a big fan of the Game of Thrones and True Blood. but like I said, my biggest things are reality, like real stuff, like I said, forensic files, anything that has to do with history. So if there's something out there that's like a series that has to do with like, old British castles, or, investigation into whatever war, things like that. I'm really into that kind of stuff. I really, really like to get like real, like on this earth knowledge, things that have, scientific value, stuff like that. I really got intrigued. I watched a series, and it was strictly all about like Tomb Raiders. No, I did not like Teen Wolf. I watched the first couple episodes, and it's not my thing. I'm not into like the teenage, like teeny bopper type stuff. We've watched Gilmore Girls. I'm trying to get Sarah to sit down and watch Gilmore Girls with me now. Sarah loves Cops. Like, that's one of her favorite shows. The other thing that I watched, which I did not expect to like, because I wasn't too big of a fan of the younger version of it, but Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which on Netflix is just called Sabrina. And it's a very dark version of Sabrina the Teenage Witch that was on like Nickelodeon back in the day, or yeah, I think it was on Nickelodeon, because back then it was with Melissa Joan Hart as Sabrina, which was a pretty good series. It was pretty good, with the weird cat. But on the Netflix series, it is a much darker version. Definitely not for kids to watch. I would never let, if my kids were younger right now, and under the age of 13, they would not be watching that version of Sabrina. It is a very, very dark tale, but really good series, especially if you're old enough to be able to differentiate some of the information they give in that. Jamly for life. But all right, we got some light coming in. We might actually go sit by the window. Magician. What is that? As long as it's not like really teenagey. One of the ones I just watched an episode of, and I'm kind of intrigued by it, but it was such a slow episode, I'm not exactly sure I'm going to get into it, is Merlin. And I'm watching that on Amazon Prime because they don't have it on Netflix. But Merlin. And I'm really interested and kind of intrigued by the whole storyline. Because if you watch Cursed, it's the same thing. It's with Arthur and Morgana. Because Arthur and Morgana, if you know anything about the whole King Arthur thing, Morgana's his half-sister. But you have Arthur, Morgana, then you have Nimue, who is actually the one who is yielding the sword. She is a fae. Faes are like fairy, magical fairy people, whatever. However, she is a cursed fae. So even her own kind of were against her from the beginning. To this magic school. Oh, Magician. I know what you're talking about. And they end up like at one point in, I think, season 2, and where they end up, Lucifer. Oh my gosh. I love that series. But Magician, I think they end up like in another realm, like where they like cross over into like a whole nother magical realm. They lose their magic. Like he loses his magic at one point, and like the girl he falls in love with ends up like not wanting to be with him anymore. Yeah, there's a whole convoluted. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The one girl who loses her magic completely, only to like gain it back by going to a really dark, taking like she resurrects someone she shouldn't have, to gain power herself, and it's really bad. But yeah. Yeah, I like that series. You know what series I wish they would have brought, like, continued on, and they never did, was The Circle. And they ended that series, and I'm so sad about that. It's probably a sin, but I have never watched Lucifer. Oh my God, you have got to see that series. It is so good. Because as you know, Lucifer is a fallen angel. right? Everybody knows that he's a fallen angel, cast out by God or whatnot. So in the series, there is a very twisted up thing that happens to him on Earth that gives you a sense of how, the fact that he wasn't always this evil entity. You know what I mean? Like, he was not always this evil angel. And he's not all bad. Because you can't have something that's just all bad and something that's just all good. There's always two sides to everything. And there's always, without evil, you can't have good, and without good, you can't have evil. You can't have either without the other. Red Band Society only has 1 or 2 seasons, but it's a good show. See, and that's the thing is, I got myself caught up in a series that I really, really liked, and they only did 1 season, and they never brought back another. And I'm trying to remember what the name of it was, because the guy in there, one of the seasons, what it was, one of them was Numbers. I'm so mad they never brought back another season of Numbers. Such a good series. And there was another one, and I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. And the one guy in it also has like high functioning Asperger's. He's really, really good with mathematics. He finally figures out that there's this thing that's going to happen, yada, yada, yada. And they're able to like figure out where and when they need to be at a place. And then the whole thing unravels and they end it at that. Oh, The Good Doctor, I didn't like it. I started watching it and I just couldn't get past it. The Good Witch, I started watching. Really good. It's a really good series. I started watching, I got like 3 episodes in, but then I got like caught up in other stuff. So I need to go back and like check that out again. But yeah, so remember, I'm more into things that are reality based. So investigative. So things that are investigative, things that are, wow, that is the weirdest thing. It looks so blurry. Girl, you've seen everything. Yeah, you have to remember, I'm 41 years old. I've seen quite a bit. And we don't have cable. We never have. So we always end up watching things like Netflix and Amazon Prime. We used to do Hulu all the time. Yeah, I do too. I love these chats. It was also very beneficial for me to chat with you guys because I was getting real sleepy and I need to stay awake to tend to the little ones. The first few days are the roughest, and watching them and keeping them healthy and making sure everybody's doing really good. So far, everybody has pottied at every feeding session. All of them are taking to the bottle really well. They got a pretty good start. I'm going to say they got at least the first 3 days with Mom. That's what I'm drinking right here. That's what I'm drinking. This is my 3rd cup of coffee through the night. First 48, I have so much I can watch on there still. There's so many episodes. I think they got like 16 seasons. Also, the one I haven't started yet but is in my watch list is the First 48 Missing Persons. So I'm going to watch that too. And then they have After the First 48. So that's another one I haven't watched yet. And that's like the series that's going to go with... Dateline is so good. So good. I haven't gone back and watched any like recorded Dateline. I used to watch it when it would come on, when the episodes would roll through. But I need to find where at that they're going to have that. Because Dateline was one of my absolute favorite shows. Back when I used to have cable, when the kids were little, I used to watch Dateline. Oh no, Chris! God, it's like crystal clear outside. And that window is disgusting. I need to wash that window off. That's really gross. My mirror is really gross too, so the light it's reflecting, look at the light. Do you see all the junk? Like, look at all this stuff. See my shadow pointing at it? All that is from the mirror. That's like handprints and stuff on the mirror. Handprints? Fingerprints. Handprints. Yes, I'm using a mirror to deflect the light up this way. so I didn't have to turn on the big light because I don't want to wake up Rigby and everybody else. Even though Rigby was up playing a minute ago, he's asleep again. So I am so proud of him, you guys. I'm going to do that every time I think of him now. Every time I even look over at him, I'm just so proud of the little guy for finally eating solid food. I was getting really nervous for a little bit there. Like, I'm not even going to lie. I started to get really scared for him because I knew he was at the point. They passed away, Catherine. They're old for guinea pigs. They passed away. Sarah's little hamster passed away in end of February, and Honey passed away at the beginning of February. You guys were all a part of, I think all of you guys were there when Brady passed away due to E. coli. Right after the whole thing happened with the romaine, we didn't know because it hadn't been announced yet, and we had given him romaine lettuce, and within it was like 12 hours, it killed him. Most guinea pigs already have like some E. coli in their body, naturally, because they eat a lot of greens and stuff. And even with that, like, the strain that was in the romaine and stuff was really bad, and he loved his romaine. We would give him his romaine every day. We'd give him a romaine heart, and he loved that, and it killed him. Oh, romaine was your grandmother's name? Aww. So yeah, I was very, 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 very careful of what I gave to Honey while I had Honey. Honey made it to almost, I'll have to look at all that in a little bit. Made it to almost 2 years old, but she was such an aggressive guinea pig. If you look back, we talk about it on several occasions, and she was so mean. We ended up taking one of the guinea pig partners that we got for her back because she was so mean to it. We ended up giving it to somebody else. And then we got Flower, and she and Flower were living on separate floors, had their own separate space, but she kept finding a way to get into Flower's enclosure. Yeah, we have kitties, and ended up killing Flower. She attacked Flower and killed Flower while we were gone at the store. So we came back to Flower being just missing a bunch of hair, and she was much smaller than Honey, and Honey just tore her up. Which is not normal for guinea pigs to be super aggressive like that, but she was extremely highly aggressive with any other guinea pigs, which is crazy because guinea pigs are social creatures, so they usually like having social interaction, but Honey just did not. And so she was pretty much a lone guinea pig for the last year of her life, and she passed away. Yeah, Chris, we have newborn kitties right now. So we have Rigby, of course. So Rigby's still going to be here he's still going to be here about another 4 or 5 more weeks, that we have to get him through his first set of vaccines, get him through, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Yeah. Get him through his first set of vaccines, which he's still got 8 ounces of weight to gain before he can do that. Then he's got to get neutered, get his next set of vaccines, and once he's got those done, then we'll make our decision of whether or not that he'll be staying with us. As you guys know, we have Bella and Mocus. The girls are outdoor cats. They do not want to be inside, so I don't want to hear it from anybody else, because people are like, but they need to be inside. No, they don't. One, because where we live, Bella absolutely loves mousing. Like, that's her favorite thing to do. She gets outside, she mouses, she brings me mice and puts them by the front door every day. And so I usually get up every morning to find mice by the front door. I have not gone to check so far yet today. Don't really feel like dealing with picking up dead mice again. They love being outside. Just like when we lived at the other house, the girls used the dog door and were always outside. We had the dog door in here. They kept going in and out until Bella started bringing the mice into the house. And because she started bringing them in here alive, we can't have them in here alive. There's wires and stuff like that that the mice have been chewing up. We had to finally remove the dog door. Can't have a live mouse running through the house. And And it also, the day she decided to lay one on me while I was sleeping was the day that determined that I was taking the dog door out and making the girls stay outside. So yes, they have a litter box out there. They don't have to go anywhere else. They can use their litter box. Though most of the time, Bella chooses not to use the litter box. Mocha still uses it, Bella not so much. They have their big dish of water and they have a big water feeder. And then they have their food, which is also kept under cover so that it's completely shaded, not exposed. I check on it every day because it is upstairs, so we don't have to worry about ants and stuff, thank goodness, because it's not ground level. But we got Rigby in here, and then I've got a litter of 5 newborns. They're roughly, today would be, we're guesstimating, so we're saying today that they're 4 days old. They'd be turning 4 days old today. And they're all sound asleep right now, which they should be waking up in about, no, stop it, Siri. They should be waking up in probably another 30 minutes or so to eat again. So I need to go warm up their milk and stuff when they wake up. Ew. Man. Yeah, Mocus will eat the mice that Bella catches. As you guys know, Mocus is kind of a special cat when it comes to like her eating habits. And as of recently, she has started eating the guts, the stomach area out of each of the mice that Bella drops off at the door. Yeah, it's pretty gross. Bella has yet to eat any of the mice she catches. She just catches them and lays them, literally stacks these things by the front door. I get up and usually there's about 4 or 5 mice laying by the front door. Ew. So yeah, we would, if we keep Rigby, he would be staying indoors. He would not be outdoors ever. Like ever. He would not be going anywhere near the outside. I would prefer that he stay indoors. We will not be installing any more dog doors in. Like I said, we've taught the dogs how to tell us they've got to go out, so they now know how to let us know when they need to go outside, so we let them out. Danny, for the most part, pretty much just stays outside because she hates being inside. We put her in here, and all she does is bark and bark and bark and bark and whine and cry. So we take her back outside. It could be 130 degrees outside, and that dog will not want to be in the house. We'll bring her in, especially once it hits, like when it hits 115, we bring them in. And Danny just has an absolute hissy fit all day long while we're keeping her in here. So now she just stays outside. She wants to be out there. She's got the 3 swimming pools out there. She's got a fully covered patio area that she stays on, and she just refuses to be inside. We try to bring her in. She usually runs the other way if we take her off her lead because she's on a runner. And she just does not want to be inside the house. If she realizes we're taking her upstairs to come inside, she turns right back around and runs right back down the stairs. Yeah, that's the thing is if they're the owners of the dogs and they've raised their dogs right, and did introductions correctly and stuff, then you shouldn't have too many problems. But I would still, no matter how good the dogs are, never leave a child alone with the dogs. Ever. Like, ever. It's just, you never know. You could have the best dog in the world, and that dog be the most absolute gentlest soul in the world, and it can turn on a dime. Something small can set it off or aggravate it, or instinct can kick in. So you just never know. Yeah. Just like I cannot let Danny anywhere around Rigby. As soon as she sees him, she gets so worked up. She starts barking like crazy. She starts slamming her paws down on the ground. Like when Bella and Mocus are moving around out there, she will full on practically hang herself chasing out, trying to get to the cats. So she's been smacked so many times and clawed so many times by the cats. She doesn't care. She's like, she looks at them like, okay, this is going to be a fun snack. Yeah, see, and that's good. That's good parents. Like, that's not just parents of a child, but good pet parents as well. Because You don't ever want to put your animal, your dog, especially, in a situation where they have to take the responsibility on if something should happen, because they're animals and they're going to animal. They've got animal instincts, and as pet parents, it's our jobs to make sure that they are never given an opportunity to screw up, so to speak. Probably going to take you guys over on that side here in a few, because it is got the nice bright light of the morning coming in, and I love it. And I can turn this off because this thing is blinding me. So let's move over to the window and see how it looks. I can turn that off for now. Come on, let's go over here and check it out. Let me grab my coffee. I have got an absolute mess on this table back here, but that's okay. Oh yeah. Can we not get that in my coffee? Thanks. Hey, check that out. Oh wow, my eyes are super blue today. I just sat on the towel. I'm just happy that they're good with Grace. Yeah, that's always good. Wow, talk about my eyes are literally so blue today. Whoa. Some days they're like ocean blue, like deep, deep, dark blue. Some days they're like a gray. And then there's days like today where there are like almost sky blue. Like, what? What? They need some serious baths, you guys, because their mama never got them fully cleaned, and they definitely need a good cleanup. But I'm also like, you really, really, really want to be careful with doing that with little bitty kitties at this age, because of like the risk of them getting wet and getting cold. So you can tell that I have not slept. Like, yeah. And then you gotta love this beauty. That's my one pore. I have a pore on my nose that is really, really huge, like it always has been. And it gets clogged all the time because it's so big. I have another one that's like a medium one, like right here, that's really, really big. And that one I can keep clean for the most part, but that one clogs up all the time and it's clogged again. And every time I press on it, it just starts bleeding again. Gotta love that. And then I split my lip because my lips got really chapped. And of course I smiled with really chapped lips and I split my lip. So that's always fun to do. Let's see if I can get that at a better angle. Maybe, maybe not. That's because I have the thing on the back. Let's see if we can do it this way. Come here. Come here, you guys. Ah! No! No! Almost dropped you guys on the floor. I would have cried actually, because I've already got my screen protector. Did I tell you guys about that? About the lady at the store? So I paid like the $15 to get this screen protector. And the cool part about these is, the reason why I buy these ones is because they come with the thing, right? That's already ready for them. All you got to do is just clean your phone really good, lay your phone down in it, turn over, push the middle of the little thing, and it clicks it onto your screen, and then it automatically does it by itself. You don't have to do any touching of it. You don't have to squeegee it, whatever. It automatically does it because it's already preset inside of a thing that your phone just snaps into, and then the thing sets onto your phone for you after cleaning it. Well, this lady decided, which I've had it done 100 times, but this one decided to take the thing out of the case that you're supposed to snap the phone into and try to line it up herself, right? But in doing so, she touched the edges of the screen to the phone first. So when she pressed on the center, the edges were already stuck. So as it started to pull out, it just cracked it all the way across. So now I have like this large, like 3 large cracks all along the like 2 edges of the phone. And of course I didn't have another $15 to pay for another piece. And she goes, well, let me fix it. So she tries to do it a second time, the exact same way she did it the first time, and did the exact same problem. So I ended up still with the cracked protective screen. So I told Sarah, as soon as I get paid again, I'm just going to go in there and purchase it and tell them, no, I'll take it home and do it myself this time. You don't need to do it for me. I'll do it myself. Because, you know, if I crack it, it'll be on me. But I did Sarah's while we were at the store, while the lady who messed mine up, I did Sarah's right there. I said, look, this is why it's made this way. You're just supposed to click the phone into it. After you peel the piece off, you stick the phone in there. It snaps your phone into the thing. It's exactly measured to the phone, these type of phones. It is made for iPhone. So you just sit the iPhone in there, click it in place, and then press the little center thing that's got the little cutout. You press that little centerpiece, and it puts it on your phone for you. You don't have to do anything. So yeah, I was ready to punch a lady. Sorry, I'm not a violent person, but I was really ticked off because, one, it's a brand new phone and I want it to be protected. And now my brand new phone, which is beautiful, has a very ugly screen protector on it right now because it's all cracked and busted. How pretty is this color of this mug that Sarah got me for my Mother's Day, for my birthday? Home is where Mom is. Precious moments, baby. Precious moments. Oh, I don't want that to fall. Okay. I didn't want to set it over here again. These things that block out like the heat from the window, they like shed this weird stuff off of them, and it gets into everything. I had to put my chair here to keep Tonks from getting right here. Between my bed and the window, because this stuff gets everywhere, and then it gets on his fur, and then he shakes and it goes everywhere in the house. So trying to prevent him from doing that. But yeah, it's gonna be a warm one today. It's supposed to be like 114 today. Like roughly 114. At least it's not gonna be 120 like it's been all week. Thank goodness. So cozy. Everybody's got nice full tummies, which is great. I was starting to worry a little bit about Rainy because she did not want nothing to do with the syringe feedings. But when I got the bottle out and tried the bottle with her, she immediately took to the bottle. So I was like, okay, good. Because it can be scary, you guys. Like, taking care of newborns is scary. Because there's, up until they're 4 weeks of age, they really are at high risk for FKS. So you have to be like really on top of it. So I watch them like a hawk. That's why they're right here next to me. I watch them very, very closely because it just takes minutes for them to change. Like, that's all it takes, like just moments. Like I said, when the other ones happened, they were preemie too, so they were at even greater risk. And they went from being completely healthy to, not completely healthy, but you know what I mean? Like, they were eating, going potty, doing really, really good, and had just done a feeding, laid them down, and the next feeding came around, and one of them had already passed away in less than a 2-hour window. And the other one was already on her way out at that same exact time. And then right behind her, the other sister went. And it was like, bam, bam, bam. And then Stevie and Rigby got brought back after the vet checked everything out, and just kind of wrote them off. They're premature. They're way too small. They're not going to survive. Go ahead and prepare yourself. Like, do all you can, but prepare yourself that they're just not going to make it. And got them here, and within 6 hours, Stevie took a turn and was gone in just a small window. And so I was terrified of losing Rigby. I sat up with him all night for 3 nights, did not go to sleep, took care of him, napped throughout the day while Sarah was awake, And she would watch him while I took, naps, and then would wake up to feed him and then lay back down and sleep a little bit while he was sleeping. But she would keep an eye on him, make sure he was still breathing, make sure he was still reacting when any movement was done to the bed, all that kind of stuff. Like it was pins and needles for the first few days. We got him past that first week, and he was just like on cue, waking up, sleeping really good, waking up. And then I was like, I started to relax a little bit more, but not too much more. I set alarms for myself to make sure I was waking up every 2 hours to check on him, even though he didn't need to be woke up. The vet was like, don't wake him up if he's sleeping. Don't let him go past 6 hours. But once at nighttime, don't wake him up every 2 hours to feed him. Let him sleep, because that's important. But to not let him go past 6 hours. But I still would wake up every 2 just to check in on him, make sure he was still breathing, make sure he was still that his breathing was good, because their breathing changes when they start to go into FKS. So you have to really watch for that. It's terrifying. But these little guys, I've been watching them all night, every 2 hour feedings, which is, they're getting ready to have another feed. They'll wake up here pretty soon. Like, they're really on cue with how often they eat. So especially Zeke. He is definitely a little grubber. He loves his food. So all the birds are out. Holy moly. Our neighbors over here, because there's no wind, every morning that there's no wind, they burn their trash, right? They burn their garbage. So they come out here and they got this large fire pit, like this large dug down, pretty deep pit. And they burn their trash. And it stinks. They don't burn any plastics because you're not allowed to. They just burn their trash, like the boxes and whatever they use for cooking. Not, like I said, they don't burn any plastics because you legally can't. It's toxic. But sometimes they have leftover bits of food or whatever that they just dump in, whatever's in their trash can that they throw away that's not considered recyclable. Any plastics will not go into the recycle bin. However, I don't know what they're going to do at the end of this month because there is no more recyclable pickup anymore. So what I think they're probably going to do, and I kind of hope that they do, anything that they recycle will go into the bin on regular trash day. And then the trash, because they always just burn their trash, will get burnt like they always do. But it smells so bad every morning. And it takes 2 or 3 hours for the stench out there to go away. But they're out there carrying everything outside right now. So it's a trash burning morning. But yeah, at the end of this month, the city has decided they will not be doing any more recyclable. I get it. I totally get why they're doing it. I hate it because all it takes is a few people to screw something up royally. So here's the deal. The recyclable truck, right? The truck that comes through and picks up recyclables is a different truck than the one that comes and picks up garbage on Wednesday. So you have the big blue truck that comes out for garbage, and then you have the big green truck that comes out for regular trash. People have been using their recycle bin to throw regular trash away. So here these trucks get to the recycle factory, and the truck gets inspected for recyclables, and they find regular trash in there, and the whole truck is turned away because now the recyclable materials have been contaminated. You cannot throw away regular trash like food scraps and all that into something that's going to go into a recycle factory, because you get molds and all that kind of stuff that are in regular food and regular garbage. So once somebody does that and they literally screw up an entire truckload of recyclable material because now it's contaminated. And the factory isn't going to be able to sit there and nitpick through every piece of recyclable material that is salvageable from the, cross-contaminated product. So the whole truck gets turned away and has to go to the landfill, which then costs the city more money because now it's not going where it's supposed to go. It's an extra truck dump, or 2 or 3 or 4 trucks worth of recyclable material that is now being processed into the dump. Now the dump will go through it and pull out what is safe to recycle, and they'll sort it and send whatever they find from there to the recycle company, right? But the city's like, we are not providing any more recyclable service. It'll be up to Hargis, I think is what they're called, to take it to the dump and sort it from there. And then they can do whatever they need to from there. But as for us, like city-wise, we'll provide you with trash pickup. But that's it. And so that's what's going to happen as of the 31st of this month. No more recyclables, no more recycle pickup. So everything will go into one bin. You can still separate and put both bins out. It's all just going to go into the same truck anyway. And then Hargis can go through it and separate it. Which I think is stupid. But I get it because people just don't care, and they're dumping stuff inside of the recycle bins that don't belong in the recycle bins. It's supposed to just be recyclables. Plastics, papers, that's it. Plastics and papers. We don't do glass. If you want glass recyclables, you got to take those in yourself. But papers and plastics are the only things supposed to be in the recycle bin. And people throw their actual garbage in there. Can we not do that? But whatever, it's a done deal. It's already been signed. So everything's been brought to everybody's attention that, hey, starting the 31st, our trash day will now change from Wednesday, which it used to be Wednesday, Friday, will start being every Monday. So it kind of makes it easy to remember, but hey, it's all good. I cannot believe how blue my eyes are today right now, you guys. And I look super orange in this lighting. That's okay though. Look at these guns. Heck yeah. I need to lighten up on my exercise routine. One of the things I don't want to do, which I hated about my body when I was in the military, was how big my arms got. Because I had really bulked up my muscle mass on my arms. And so it's doing it again. Like my arms are getting really strong looking again, which is great, like cut-wise stuff. But however, it gives me a more more robust look on the top, and I don't want that again. I want trim arms. Like I want my arms to look trim and stuff, but they're starting to get the very cut out, like Iron Woman look again. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to start doing some more slimming exercises and toning. No more strength building, because strength building bulks me up and I don't want that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to go mix up these little guys a bottle so that way it'll be ready, because they'll be waking up any moment now. And I want to make sure I'm ready for them. And I think today is going to be a sponge bath kind of day. They really need a good cleanup. Also, I can turn off the one AC thing for a few minutes while I get them clean, so that way there's no them getting too cold, and then I can heat up their heating pad. But you guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out with me, keeping me awake. And I'm gonna go make a bottle for these babies. And yeah, you guys are awesome. And Rigby is past the biggest step, and that was getting him on solids, and he's eating solids. So yay, Rigby. Congrats, Rigby. Hi, Chelsea. I'm just getting off here, so I'm gonna talk to you guys later on. I may probably do another live stream later on, but for right now I need to go make a bottle for these sweet little babies so that they can be fed here in just a moment, and also let myself use the restroom because I drank a whole bunch of coffee and now I gotta pee really bad. And yeah, and I'll get on here later on because I also want to talk to you guys about something else that I think is important. So I want to talk with you guys about it and give some tips that I learned from some other people during this as well. And you guys are awesome, and I will see you guys later on today.